The activities of a rehabilitation center for visually impaired patients are well known to all sector personnel that are dealing with the inherent problems and know how to propose the best solutions. But unlike other disciplines, dedicated tools that can quickly inform the patient what kind of activities are being carried out are not always used. When a person realizes that his vision goes to an ophthalmologist, where he expects to receive an appropriate solution. The clinical analysis of the physician determines the cause of the problem, and when atrophic macular degeneration is diagnosed, the doctor may refer the patient to a center for visual rehabilitation. The first question a patient is asked is what his expectations or priorities are, in order to understand if indeed an effective rehabilitation program can be developed. Potential can be quantified relatively quickly and simply by means of a factor obtained by dividing the value of visual acuity that is required to read the characters of the newspaper, 20/60, by the patient's residual visual acuity. At our Low Vision and Visual Rehabilitation Center in Milan, we have assembled in a very small space all the equipment we need for assessment, rehabilitation, training, and prescription of visual aids which best meet the patient's needs. The patient is asked to report how many letters he can read on the illuminated board at a distance of 2.5 meters. The brain of the Low Vision Workstation is an expert database that, through specific tests, can determine the patient's residual vision and the most suitable color temperature. To determine the visual acuity and the color temperature with which the patient has obtained this result, the optotypes that are employed are not only those that give the best contrast, white letters on black background, but also those with black letters on various colored backgrounds, such as red, green, and blue. Has placed his preferential eccentric fixation. Following this, an algorithm will automatically create a customized vision chart based on the resolution angle, knowing the location of the preferred retina locus. If the lines presented are not read to the end, the program will automatically generate a path of photostimulation targeted to achieve the predicted result. This data allows us to offer the patient the best that present a series of words flashing on the computer screen. The purpose of these exercises is to teach the patient how to use the portion of the retina that can offer better performance. When the patient has finished the visual stimulation cycle, thus stabilizing the eccentric fixation based on a known healthy point of the retina, we can proceed with reading training. For this task, we use an OCR that allows us to scan a text of interest to the patient, such as books or documents of primary interest like bank statements or telephone numbers. The text can be initially adjusted for readability. Thusly, we can enlarge it, change the background color, the font, and the space between letters. We set the reading speed based on tests performed with eyeglasses and light, and ask the patient to follow the cursor. When the patient gets ahead of the cursor, the speed of the automatic scrolling is increased to the theoretical number that has been established by the program. To complete the training cycle, when the patient has reached the maximum possible result, we bring the text that we have digitized back to its natural state to see if we have reached the goal set at the beginning of the meeting, namely, a return to reading books. For prolonged reading, it may be necessary to prescribe a video magnifier. In this case, we can activate a camera connected to the computer of the low vision workstation so that, without moving the patient, we can show him how this device functions, and we can then see how the patient responds to the solution and decide together if it is convenient to add a vocal synthesizer when navigating a text or the internet. Potential visual acuity, if only in theory. The SAVA software indicates the exercises to give the patient in order to achieve the best possible use of the healthy part of his retina. It also prescribes the visual aids and the appropriate training for a full recovery of the patient's primary needs, which were established at the beginning and accepted as achievable targets. The SAVA software, available in Italian, English, Spanish, German, and Portuguese with low vision and visual rehabilitation, may, if authorized, be made available to all centers that use this method for direct and immediate feedback. If the SAVA software is the brain of the low vision workstation, then the auxiliaries installed are certainly the right hand on which a professional can rely for the success of a comprehensive rehabilitation program. It is the practitioner that chooses the means by which he wants to operate. Other professionals, such as dentists or ophthalmologists, can choose which instruments may be more suited to reassure patients by presenting them with an environment created specifically to address their problem. This, when coupled to the personal knowledge of the practitioner, puts the patient in the best psychological state to provide full cooperation. In a rehabilitation center equipped with a low vision workstation, the first positive observation of the patient is that it is very comfortable being alongside the practitioner rather than separated by a table of instruments. In addition, it's beneficial to have all the tools at your fingertips.